welcome to the Artists Forum. I'm your host, Warren Adams, and this evening's guest is Elena Paul, Executive Director of Volunteer Lawyers for the Arts. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Good to have you. Volunteer Lawyers for the Arts, that is VLA, right?
Yes, most people in New York would know us by that acronym.
Tell us about VLA.
VLA is a nonprofit legal aid organization for artists. We have a number of programs where we provide legal representation, legal counseling, educational programs, mediation, and other services to the arts community.
Okay. So where did you go to law school?
I went to Harvard Law School.
Okay, great. And then after Harvard, where did you go straight into the VLA, or?
No, after Harvard I went, tried kind of the traditional route for lawyers. I went into a law firm, into private practice, and I was a corporate and contract lawyer.
Okay.
And I worked for, a number of different clients, Gucci, M&M Mars.
Wow.
And yeah, it was actually really fun.
So you go from a private practice and representing these great clients to a not-for-profit organization. Why? I mean, normally one would think that it would be the other way around, getting started out, in a smaller place.
My salary actually is, every time I make a move, my salary is divided in half.
So does that tell me that you have obviously you have a love for the arts, right?
Yeah, I actually decided I wanted to be a lawyer for the arts when I was 19. I worked in the National Gallery of Art, and I decided that I wanted to be the general counsel of the National Gallery or have some arts-related job.
Right.
I don't think I knew what that meant, but when I got out of law school, I started volunteering for the VLA in Washington, and I just learned more about it, and I just really loved the clients, and I learned so much from them.
Now, are all your clients, are they from a specific part of the arts, or they come from various backgrounds? Is it, music, dance, film?
We actually basically cover any area of the arts. We'll represent filmmakers, people who want to start a for-profit, graphic design business, a visual artist who is entering into a contract, a writer, any theater person or production person. Basically, art's very, very broadly defined. Right. If we can figure out a way to help somebody, we certainly try to do so.
Right, and these are young artists, I mean people who are involved in unions, non-unions, just about anyone? Basically
anyone. We have a really broad range of clientele, and there are about 6,000 people who come one way or the other through Volunteer Lawyers for the Arts in New York each year. About a third of those are starting not-for-profit tax-exempt arts organizations. Another third are in the music industry. The music industry is a little bit unusual because it's one of the few areas of the arts where no matter what level or type of music you're in, the first thing that happens to the artist is that they're handed a written contract to sign. And it really is about the next 20 years of their life.
And they're very naive when it gets to that kind of thing.
Yeah, everyone is very excited. They want to be Britney Spears or,
famous,
right.
And they go from, I guess, when one goes from very little money to all of a sudden being handed $50,000, but not quite understanding, because we hear about, groups going bankrupt. They thought they made $7 million, but they end up with, what, $10,000.
Right. Once you actually walk someone through the fine print of a 30-page contract, and you see basically that most music industry contracts, it's the record company is basically acting like a bank.
Right.
And they'll give you some money up front. They are buying all your, rights and your performances and albums for many years to come. And they will get all their expenses back, and then you also pay interest. And so, it's a trade-off, and I think people they don't really understand, how that is. And so, we exist in order to help people understand their options and to basically look at these things. Artists are business people.
Right.
And they're in the business of intellectual property, which is an area of the law, which is pretty complicated.
Yeah, and I think a lot of artists, what you just said, it's a business. A lot of artists tend to forget that because they're so wrapped up in the art form, which is a good thing. However, I think that, at the end of the day, they have to go home and take care of what we call bills.
Right.
And some artists forget that, and I tend to think that, what you're offering is a really good thing to work on and to look at. Tell me, do you have, as executive director, do you have a hands-on with the artists? Do you,
yes.
Or do you just work with other lawyers?
I'm actually very lucky because I have kind kind of a dream job for me. It's, I have a lot of different things that I do. I write grants. I kind of set the mission and propose programs for the year. I see clients. I actually have a client now who's been with me since 1988. He was my first client that I volunteered for through the VLA in Washington. He's still my client. We just closed a mural.
He must be very happy with you then.
Yeah, that's great. We just closed a mural deal for him in Chicago. So he's got other things going on. And it's interesting because artists are, you know, art is really intimate and personal. And when you bring it to kind of a commercial transaction, it's very hard for to be objective about your own personal expression.
Right.
And so we really try to help people, you know, sort through understanding, you know, the trade-offs if they're entering into negotiation with somebody about what they're giving away and what they're getting.
Because a lot of artists they feel like they don't want to lose their integrity when it comes to the commercial side of it.
Right. And there, you know, it's basically trade-offs. You're deciding, you know, how much control you want to give, how much you want to get. And sometimes it really is about analyzing opportunity costs. If someone's offering you a recording contract and you have to sign up for the next 9 albums, or, you know, that may be 20 years, is that the best use of your time? You know, maybe they're giving you $50,000 up front, but for 20 years of work, you know, that may not, you know, you have to run a cost-benefit analysis just the same you would in any other business.
As a lawyer now, you seem to have quite a, you know, a great understanding of the arts. Is this because that's your job, or do you actually have a love for the arts? Do you go to a lot of theater and do you see a lot of things?
I actually try to go to some live performance every weekend, and I just always love the arts. I really love ballet and opera, kind of like the very classic things. But I also am just recently getting into live music of more popular versions and trying to get, you know.
And you like contemporary art as well?
Absolutely. I like a full range of things.
Are you happy with where VLA is right now? I mean, as director?
Yeah, we had, the last year we spent revamping our programs, shaping ourselves more like a law firm and less like an arts organization. I'm very interested in the delivery of services. And we have a kind of tripled, actually, the number of services that we're delivering to clients. In the future, what I anticipate doing is, and what we just actually kicked off a statewide service initiative this year, where we're entering into formal relationships with other arts councils, for example, the Brooklyn Arts Council, and throughout the boroughs, and then also throughout the state, because I think historically we have been, you know, kind of a luxury, like we've been very reactive. People call us and come in, and we haven't been at a lack for clients, but really when people self-identify with issues, they aren't necessarily the people, they're already, you know, kind of down the road, they even understand that they have issues. So we're trying to reach out and work with organizations to reach a more diverse clientele and expand, you know, our numbers and basically take the organization out throughout the state and particularly, you know, in the boroughs.
We have a lot of viewers out there who are probably quite interested in what, you know, what the VLA has to offer. What kind of advice would you give to them?
Well, the easiest way just to get to know our programs is to call our hotline. We have a, it's 212-319-ARTS, and that is a phone bank that's staffed by staff attorneys and law students. And if you have a simple question about how to register a copyright, or, you know, whether or not an infringement has occurred, you can call, get a quick answer. They can also tell you about our upcoming programs, if we have classes on a particular topic, and how to get access to more extensive representation, which people might qualify for free representation, or to help start a nonprofit, and just to go through our various programs.
So now let's say I'm a young filmmaker, and I have, you know, a number of questions to ask VLA. What do I call up this number?
You would basically call up the number and they would give you your options. And basically, actually for filmmakers, we have a wonderful new program. One of the staff attorneys and I took a film production, finance, and distribution class.
You did it yourself?
Yes, we did.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's important to know the industry in order to properly advise people. So we took a class and we found the instructor so fabulous that we actually set up a partnership with him that he's going to be teaching this class for us on starting in June. Every 3 weeks we'll have a filmmakers class, like the production, finance,
like a workshop,
end.
getting
Yes.
coming. Okay.
And then the other things that you could do is for a $75 annual membership, we have a legal clinic, which is private appointments in the office. So say, for example, you had a partner and you weren't sure what the law, you'd been working together on a screenplay,
right.
and you thought in your head, that one person was the writer and the other person was assisting, but you weren't sure how the copyright law might say
how
that
much
happened.
Percentage of what belongs
Right,
to whom. Okay.
right. So you might make a private appointment to come in and just talk through your project with a lawyer, and they would help you identify where you might need a written agreement, where you might need more extensive representation. Perhaps you need a lawyer to help you negotiate with that person, and just help you, point you to different resources.
Right, right.
We also have a library in the office, which is open to anyone. They can come by and
they can just stop by and take
absolutely,
a look.
absolutely.
Well, this sounds like I think I might stop by myself.
Please do.
But thank you very much for stopping by at the Artists Forum. And
My pleasure.
we would like for all of you to, if any of you have any questions, to call the number. And can you give us the number again, please?
It's 212-319-ARTS.
Okay. And thank you for watching the Artists Forum. I'm Warren Adams, and good night. So thanks for coming by.
I'm Elisa Blount-Moorhead from Red Clay Arts.
Hello, my name is Whitfield Lavelle.
I'm Ruth Jett, the Executive Director of the Cinque Gallery.
I'm dancer, actor, choreographer Warren Adams, and you are watching the Artists Forum.
Tim Gunn. Hi, Mark. How are you? Thanks so much for calling back.
I've been in higher education for 27 years, 23 of which have been spent at Parsons, very, very proudly. I have a family that is deeply concerned with education and with quality education, and I think I just wasn't able to shake that. I have a background in fine arts and architecture, and specifically in the fine arts area, sculpture, and was very serious about that work for quite a number of years. I had my own studio, I have work in the collection of the National Museum of American Art, but I put that on the shelf quite a number of years ago because I really wanted to teach. And I found then and continue to find that my work with students is so satisfying and so cathartic that my own creative energies are directed towards that and are used up by that. I don't find that I have a lot of room left to be making sculpture or pursuing other creative interests. And work in education, if you're doing it well and you're passionate about it, is nothing if not creative. I am exceedingly proud to be part of this incredibly distinguished institution. Parsons was really the first school of design. The school was founded in 1896. At that time, however, it was a fine arts program. In many ways, it was not unlike the Art Students League. In fact, it shared the same block of 57th Street as the Art Students League. Parsons was then called the Chase School because it was founded by the American Impressionist William Merritt Chase. And even at that time, the school had certain distinctions that set it apart from its peer institutions. One was that the faculty were what Mr. Chase called the real thing. That is, they were active painters, sculptors, printmakers, and included the famous Ashcan School of American Painting, John Sloan and William Glackens, for instance. So these were superstars to study with, and the era of the superstar instructor didn't really exist until this time. The other distinction was that a portfolio was required to be considered for entrance into the school. No other school did that. They figured, well, we'll start you from ground zero, and this institution said, no, we want students coming in at a higher caliber. And the third distinction was something that we won't even be able to wrap our brains around today, and that is that men and women coexisted in the studios. And that was unheard of. In fact, it was something of a scandal at the time. So the Chase School was much talked about in the art and design circles, especially in New York. And Frank Alva Parsons, the man for whom the school would later be named, heard about this buzz. He, at the time of the buzz, was at Columbia. And he had a particular vision about art and design education that wasn't shared at Columbia, but Mr. Chase was very interested in his vision. Mr. Parsons was something of a prophet. He foresaw a second wave of the Industrial Revolution, one that would change American lifestyle. Keep in mind that we're talking about the cusp of the change of the last century. We're in the late 1890s, moving into the 20th century. In fact, Mr. Parsons joined the school in 1902, and floor-length skirts abound. No one can look at a woman's ankle. There's a large servant class for a large wealthy class, and there is really not a robust middle class, and this is what was being developed owing to the second wave of the Industrial Revolution. So accordingly, Mr. Parsons introduced the first programs in America in fashion design, in interior design, and in advertising design. He called it advertising art at that time because with this industrial wave, there was going to be a clamoring for consumer products, there was going to be competition for those products, and Mr. Parsons wanted the school to help lead in the development of each of these lifestyle arenas. It was a very exciting time. Among the special distinctions of the school, and directly pertaining to Mr. Parsons' vision, was the separation of the act of making a work of art, or design more specifically, from the act of designing it. That is the whole conceptual process and what goes into it. The investigation and the research, the croquis process of working through dozens and dozens and dozens of various different design ideas, and then stepping back from them and analyzing them, being very critical in the analysis of them, and making decisions about, well, which of these designs will move forward, and then finally making something, because the making of it is really the test of efficacy. Does it work? Does it satisfy the client's needs? Otherwise, it's merely in the ether. You really do have to see it. And in the case of fashion in particular, it's three-dimensional. Yet the process starts out as a two-dimensional one. My real design education happened at Parsons when I came to work here in 1983. More through osmosis and through working with all the various departments at Parsons, of which there are 12, I really had an incredible epiphany of sorts about what goes into creating design. It is not like fine arts. In fine arts, one has the luxury of no deadlines, purely personal vision. We are our own clients as fine artists. But with design, there's an external problem that needs to be solved, a challenge that the designer has to make his or her own, research and investigate, and come up with a solution that satisfies the client. It's a very different way of operating. It's a very different way of looking at the creative world. And I looked at this program from a very different point of view, largely because I don't come from this industry, and therefore I possessed a kind of neutrality. I didn't have an axe to grind or a particular point of view about fashion. I was open to all points of view and was interested in gathering as much information as I possibly could, because my mission here was to diagnose the issues with the curriculum and offer up a new curricular prescription. That new prescription was put in place in the fall of 2001, and I'm fond of saying the rest really is history, because Parsons went from being a very sleepy, self-content kind of backwater, at least the Department of Fashion Design, to suddenly being robust and energetic and excited and a true industry leader again. And it's been the most gratifying and rewarding professional experience in my career, I have to say. And I'm extremely, extremely proud of our students and our faculty and of their achievements. In fact, their achievements are remarkable. Parsons is the most selective college of art and design in America, so I'm very proud to say that we have the best and the brightest here. But being accepted is one thing, being able to sustain the demands of the program is an altogether different matter. Parsons has a very, very high bar when it comes to quality and standards, and we are very strict about adhering to that bar. We are preparing the next generation of design leaders. But we're also the real world design school. And when I say that with all seriousness. Speaking for the Department of Fashion Design, if the work that the students design can't get into a taxi, I say it doesn't make any difference. I mean, we're not designing static works of art or floats in a parade. These are real challenges that require very, very serious work.
My name's Ashley Priest. I'm a junior this year at Parsons, and I think that the Parsons experience is really good because you have a lot of hands-on training. We have a lot of good classes that teach us about not only the making aspect, but also learn about the industry as well. In the future, I plan on going into intimate apparel.
My name is Sasha Gill, and what I plan to do in the future is I want to have my own designer label. I came to Parsons as a transfer student from another college, and I'm here now, and I love it, and you have to love it to survive it.
Hi, my name is Esther. I'm a Parsons student. I'm a junior, and I came from Berlin, Germany, and sometimes it's frustrating, and sometimes I have days I just want to stop, I want to leave, but then every day keep going because it will end and it will be nice, hopefully at the end. They show you how the industry works. They want you to learn, manage your time, just get your things done because high competition and you have to be the best. When I finish, I would love to find a job at a designer that I look up to, that I respect, and I think it's possible because Parsons is a good name and I have senior friends who got jobs, who work.
We have scores and scores and scores of industry contacts and industry projects and industry sponsors and scholarships. And it helps keep us honest. It helps keep us grounded. And a very dear friend and mentor, and also a mentor to our students, is the former editor-in-chief of Vogue magazine, Grace Mirabella, who is here with some frequency, I'm very pleased to say. She advises the students to be very cautious of two particular design foibles. One is don't design dumb clothes, and the other is don't make jokes. And when Grace declares this, the students are all looking at each other like, what does she mean? What is she talking about? Then she explains. She says, dumb clothes, a Gap t-shirt. The world doesn't need you to design a Gap t-shirt. It exists. Go buy one. Don't design it. Jokes. She says those things that walk the Paris runways, the work of John Galliano, for instance. The world doesn't need that. Look at the design challenges that exist between those two extremes, and that's what you need to aim for. And it is a huge, huge market and a huge challenge. The dumb clothes and the jokes are easy. Everything else is very, very difficult. I guess we can't have a conversation without mentioning Project Runway. Parsons is extremely proud to be the host of Project Runway, and I am extremely proud about my own role on the show. Basically, I'm no different on Project Runway than I am with the students at Parsons. And now when I go into the Parsons studios and I'm fired up and I want to admonish them for something, they just start laughing. And they say, oh, you're that man on Project Runway. It's like, no, 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 no. You've got this wrong. It's the other way around. It's important to understand that Project Runway is completely separate from the academic world at Parsons. Yes, we host it. Yes, it's our facility. Yes, I believe we give the show some additional credibility, but to have a high-quality, high-caliber television program associated with a high-quality, high-caliber art and design school is the best marriage one could possibly imagine. Students who are considering a future in art and design will certainly be looking at colleges of art and design, of which there are very many, and they're very diverse and they have different characteristics. Students should look at the website of any college that they're considering and look at what the admissions criteria are. I can assure you that everybody is going to probably want to see a portfolio, and in many cases the portfolio is the most important component. Here at Parsons, because so much of our work is very conceptual and very research-driven, we are just as concerned with your academic progress and your academic record as we are with your visual materials. That is a hugely important criterion when the admissions committee is reviewing your credentials. Some schools will care less about that. Some schools will care more about it. You really need to do your homework and investigate what the possibilities are. I also have to say, I encourage you to visit any school that you're considering, because you're going to feel the aura of that institution, and it should be palpable to you, and you'll be able to project yourself into it and think, I could be a happy student here, or, oh, this isn't right, this just doesn't feel right to me. Please visit. It's a big commitment. You're going to be spending 4 years at this institution, and you should feel confident about your ability to succeed and also your ability to enjoy things. I don't want to portray education as just being a boot camp that's relentless and daunting and from which you need to be delivered from the pain of it. You should have a good time. You should be enjoying your studies, and that enjoyment is what will sustain you through the more difficult projects and the difficult challenges. Have a good time.